Hello, Quasar Markets Live. I have a very exciting one for you today. Ann Parnes, who's co-founder of After Hello Matchmaking. I'm a little scared, Ann. You're the former assistant DA down in New Orleans, and here you go with this new project, and I love it. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, great. Okay, so look, one of the things that we've been talking about here in the finance world is it's hard to find love out there right now, and it seems like that AI is taking over. It seems that we just saw Microsoft 9,000 employees get laid off, and the guy who laid them off says, "Oh, well, just go to AI and talk to them as companionship." We had a guy here, the CEO of a robotics company, said a Harvard study was done that companionship is the number one problem right now, and that they're trying to fix it through robots. But you have a better way of doing things, right? Tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got into this, who you are, and what you're doing.
Sure. So I transitioned from practicing law um, in 2014 and then went into the coaching field. And as I started meeting more singles who are having all of these problems, it's always been a passion of mine is helping people with relationships, and actually got into the legal profession for helping, which isn't really intuitive to a lot of people. But anyway, so that's when I started calling around and talking to other matchmakers around the country, going to trainings, and launched my business in 2017 locally in New Orleans. Really built it from the ground up. And then 2 years ago decided, kind of had my expertise already and felt like I wanted to bring this further into the country. And so was lucky enough to find an amazing partner, Maria Murray, who comes from the recruiting, operations, business, all of those things that you need to do that. And since then, we have expanded nationally, and it's been really wonderful to be able to create, more wonderful relationships in the world and solve for this problem of people wanting companionship and connection in their lives.
Yeah, and I feel bad. I didn't bring my beads and my hurricane glasses today. And look, it's interesting when you talk about the world as it is today. It does seem that we're more separated by social media, by technology in and of itself. And how do you see the world of companionship growing in the future?
I think that as humans, we are wired for connection, and we're the ones who that's really important to. We're going to seek it out. Some of us are going to use different tools than others, but I think ultimately, if you want it, it's there. It's about your mindset. It's about developing yourself and your skills and a life that someone wants to share with you. And otherwise, I think there are lots of ways, lots of tools. We are, a solution that we think is more personalized for the people who don't want to use the apps or just haven't had success or the time or busy with their careers. There's expertise in every realm, right? I would never dream of doing my taxes. And so for some people, it is like this. I know this is what I want. I know this is the most important decision I'm ever going to make. And so I want to be really thoughtful about it. I want to be really deliberate about it. And here are the things, we sit down and talk about. Here are the things that are really important. I've gotten to know myself. I know what my needs are, or will help you figure that out. And then let's go from there as a starting point instead of, and there's nothing wrong with it. Again, it can be a wonderful tool for connection. The apps, you see 5'8" CEO or
Right.
and so we're making decisions that way, whereas we're approaching it with really the whole human approach that, of course, people and relationships are.
Yeah, and I think when I was growing up, you had to go to the bars. You had to go get out there and make a name for yourself and try to attract the opposite partner that you're looking for. And it's a hit and miss a lot of times, right? They like tequila, they like or a coffee, right? You don't always know. But one of the cool things about you is you have an 87% success rate. Is that correct?
Yes, that is, the matchmaking industry across the board. We have an incredibly higher success rate because, again, we are vetting people and having those conversations and making sure that it's a worthwhile meeting, even if we can't always predict connection, of course, but you start from a much higher ground.
I love that. And so, okay, so all right, obviously I'm happily married, but I want to know, if I'm single, what do I need to do to get started the ball rolling? What makes a person go, you know what, I need help. I need Ann to walk me through this. What do I need to do here, Ann?
Well, I think that you need to ask yourself whether you really are looking for a committed relationship. So that's, you have to have that goal in mind. And then whether you're in the right mindset and that you feel optimistic and that you're open to growth and you're open to flexibility and You don't have to have a perfect life. You don't have to be perfect. None of that. We're human. But whether you do feel like you're in a good place to where if you meet that right person, you have the skills, you have all of that you can bring to the table and make sure you're successful. And so if you don't, there's dating coaching, which we also do, right? So get yourself there. You don't have to, but you also don't set the standard so high that it keeps you from meeting someone. And then there are several avenues again, there are dating apps. There are, you can go out in public, like you said, go to the bars, or I don't know what success you'll have there, but, go to events, go and start conversations, which is becoming increasingly harder for people. Or you can, of course, come see us and we'll have that conversation with you and assess whether we think, how we can help you, if you're a good fit, figure out what are your needs, what are your wants, and how we can help.
Yeah, it's interesting. As technology has grown, we've gone from our heads being straightforward and looking at other people to our heads down into our cell phones and doom scrolling, as we call it. How do you change the philosophy of people as they are looking for love out there and they're looking for matchmaking, and they go, okay, I have to get my head out of this. I can't just keep tweeting. I can't keep just texting with somebody. I need. How do I change myself as a person to be open for these relationships?
Yeah. So as you said, I mean, if people want to meet in real life, you're so unapproachable when you've got your whatever. I always get this AirPods and your earbuds, whatever. If you're on your phone, if you're on your watch, no one's going to come up and start that conversation. So I think it starts with, if this is the way you want to meet people, which everyone says they do, right? Look up, look around, be friendly, make eye contact, start conversations yourself. Don't constantly be passive. If you want to stop using as much technology, right, and replace it with real in-life connection, and if you are using the apps, the whole point of them is they're a tool. That is not the end all be all. Even the apps will say that. The marketing, or what they do behind the scenes might not go with that goal, but they say that they want to get you off of them. And so use that as a platform to meet people, just like you would at the library, maybe not the library, at the gym, at the bar, whatever it is, at the volunteer event, and start the conversations just to make sure, that this is a seemingly real person who can hold a conversation, who can write grammatically and ask questions and be curious, and then get off that app as quickly as possible. Get on the phone, get on a video date, meet for coffee, meet for a drink, because you don't know. You don't even know, we've talked about it, you don't know if it's the person texting you or their AI companion, right? So
Right.
you really don't know who's behind that screen, and you don't want to invest too much, and you don't want to open up too much. You don't know if it's a scammer, so you don't want to give personal information. To me, it's just, a few exchanges back and forth. And really my recommendation is get on the phone. If somebody can't have a 15-minute conversation with you, you probably don't need to make the effort to go out
Right.
on a full date. So,
Is that still a thing? I mean, is catfishing still a thing? Is still people being very, I guess scammy in a lot of ways? Is this still really happening?
it's happening all the time. I mean, the statistics, I wish that I had them here for you, but they're pretty alarming. I know a lot of really intelligent people who it's happened to, and it's really embarrassing for them. Particularly, they target older people, like
Mhm.
60s and up. It's really sad. And honestly, AI is making it more easy to do so because, they know natural language, right? They know how to, they know what to pick out from a profile. They know what to say. They can be really, really charming. There's no awkward English. Before it was a little bit easier to pick out a bot or a scammer because, they say they're from here, but yet their English is broken. And so,
Right.
it's a little bit more difficult to do that. And the photos that they can get, absolutely, it's happening, and it's probably going to continue to happen more and more.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about it is you expanded from New Orleans now to all over the United States. And where are you seeing the most success and the most use case? New York City, LA, Miami. What's going on in the world here?
For matchmaking services?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, gosh, we have been primarily focusing sort of Arizona through Florida and Chicago, the Midwest, but we do have clients in New York. Um, there are tons and tons of matchmakers in New York, and there are tons and tons of singles having trouble. But I just feel like it's sort of proportionate with the population. So we have more clients in the bigger cities, but we do, we have people who register for our kind of free private registry. Anyone can register from all over. And so they're in more remote towns where you can imagine it's harder for them to meet anyone just because of they already know everyone there. And but we mostly work with clients in bigger cities because, you know, We can't
Yeah, I
make
mean, I was born in a small town. I had to marry someone from another country. I mean, it felt like that, right?
that.
Look, it's okay. So let's move up a little bit further. You have now started After Hello, and I'm gonna bring this to the website to the so everybody can see it now. This is After Hello. This is Ann's awesome site. Look at this thing. Very simple. There is all kinds of ways to sign up. You can get that client consultation, the private one that I think that I think I mean, I think that's a great thing, the personal side of things, and then the registry itself. Now, tell us a little bit how you differentiate yourself from After Hello from everybody else out there that's trying to matchmake.
Yeah, I would say that there are a lot of, we have so many really wonderful, talented matchmakers in our industry. I think that bringing together the skills that Maria and I, in our experience, we have just very different experiences. I have the human element and being able to really read people from working in the law and being a prosecutor. And Maria, worked with Orange Theory and has done a lot of development in the business world and expansion. And so just bringing that together, being able to keep the quality that we do as a smaller business and really the human touch. And that's really what's important to us. But training our matchmakers, we have an incredible team of matchmakers who work with us, who are so genuine and passionate. And every time, there's a success, it really is a big celebration with us that we're all cheering each other on. So being able to keep that quality and hire the right people and train the right people. And that's something that she's really brought to the table. That's huge, right? Because it's all about your team. We
And
can't say anyone personally.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine how you guys do it. Listen, I think I have to ask the question, and we touched on a little bit, the AI coming in now. I have to ask the future of matchmaking. Is it going to change? Is it going to be the same as it is now? Will you see some changes coming in the future? We'll be using more technology or less technology to make those human connections?
Yeah. So as far as the matchmaking industry, we're really not concerned about it. We know at the end of the day, some people it's going to be great for, others are going to get burnt out or not want to touch it because, they're busy running businesses or whatever it is they're doing. So they just won't be interested in that. We're not worried about our business. The human element and expertise there's always a need for it by our clients. As far as dating in general, I think it's going to have a huge impact, pluses and minuses, right? Just like everything else. It's a tool, and it really depends on how people are going to use the tool. Already, they're saying 50% of the users on the dating apps have in some way used AI. So that could be to help create their profile, make it sort of more marketable. And for others, they're really using it for messaging, right? And so it's a slippery slope there. And I think that it can, the people who are awkward about writing those profiles where you have to talk about yourself, I think it can be a great tool for them. Maybe they start their thread and they put everything about themselves and they tell the chat GPT or whatever it is they're using a little bit about their tone, their humor, and maybe it helps them come up with a really great bio and all of those prompts, which is wonderful. It gets them out there, it markets them.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think what happens is for those who are really, and maybe even for the first conversation or the first outreach, it could be really helpful, right? You upload the other person's profile. Honestly, we do this. We take over people's dating apps. And so we essentially do this, right, for people. But we don't do it to try to trick anyone, make them fall in love. All we're doing is that first outreach. Is there even going to be a response? Will it be a response worth, and once you have that, I feel like put it away and be yourself, because you want to be authentic. That's the whole thing. Right. That's what people are struggling with in the first place with dating apps is an authenticity. So it's just going to make that part worse. And I think for the people who don't understand that at some point they're going to have to be the ones there on that date, being themselves and bringing that's going to be tough.
One of the things about Quasar markets and of course my own life, I like the personal side of things, right? The personal side of finance, the personal side of life in general, like travel myself. And you got to give me the personal side of this. Tell me a good story that you put together. Some people, you've got to have a whole list of people like, oh man, I got this one that I just got to talk about and tell you this great story of how it all came together, how they met, and After Hello made it happen for them. So give us that good story.
Okay, great. There's so many, but I think one of, beyond just providing introductions, because I was giving this guy great introductions. I love him. He was a super successful business owner in our community. His heart absolutely in the right place, had all the makings of just a wonderful life partner, really had so much to give, and just a pleasure to be with. But what was happening was, evidently, because we get feedback from matches and from our client after every introduction, is he was so nervous going to these dates that he would just completely overshare, right? Had to run. There could not be a moment of silence. And so completely overshare and drink too much because it helped, right? Ease social lubricant, right?
Yeah.
And so every woman's feedback was almost the same: oversharing and possibly an alcoholic, which he is not. Not even close. It was just his way of easing his anxiety. I wouldn't have known that other than getting that feedback. And I was like, I don't understand why nobody is, wanting a second date with this guy. He's amazing. So as soon as we were able to kind of pinpoint that and talk about it and work with him on that, he presented himself as himself, right? And just said, acknowledge the fact that I'm a little nervous. Great. Well, then so is she. And that went really well. He was able to be more authentic. And not overshare because the alcohol wasn't there to help that. And they've been together, happily, as far as I know. It's been probably 2 years. Yes, now.
Oh,
So.
wow, that's so good. I love that. Okay, you said you have so many, so I mean, these feel good stories are good. I gotta have me another one then. Tell me another one.
Sometimes you get lucky on the first try, and that's really exciting. Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, and we definitely tell people, like, do not.
Where were you when I was 21 and 22? Right.
Right. And that is, it's skill and that we're listening and we're trying, but it's luck and that you're going to have that chemistry and connection. And so I had a client who was very successful and very nice, an immigrant, so strong accent, short, and had really been striking out on the dating apps, right? 5'6", incredibly intelligent, but not always able to express himself in the way that a fluent English speaker would, a natural fluent English speaker. So very self-conscious. And, we worked on that and just building his confidence ahead of time, and he kept saying, well, do you think that like a woman is going to be put off by the fact that I have an accent? I'm like, yeah, some women will be, and that's not your woman. And that's the whole point. It's like, we all have our imperfections, our foibles. And so that was really wonderful for him to kind of feel confident. And so when I did set him up with this woman, I said, I just want you to know, she knows you have an accent and she knows, that, and she's very excited to go out with you. And I think that put him into just a more confident mindset. So he was able to show up again. And they have been together ever since. And he, we go on hold. So we want our clients to try things out and not feel like, oh gosh, the time is ticking. Because typically our memberships are 6 months for matchmaking. And so, don't worry about that. We put it on hold. We just want you to feel it out. Let's see. And then we'll decide, because they were really connecting. And so a couple months ago, I finally got the feedback of, okay, this is, go ahead and take me off hold. This is it. And I know he's
one of the things I like about you, Ann, is that, I always tell people to just smile in life and life, take it in stride. But you went the law level and you wanted to be a lawyer and of course the ADA, and you just stopped that process to do what you think you loved and it made a business out of it, right? Do you feel fulfilled now in life that you left the law field and you got to put away the bad guys for a little while, but now you're putting good people together? So do you feel fulfilled for that?
Absolutely. I really do look forward to work every day. It's always something different. And yeah, I don't love everything about my job. I would be absolutely lying. I think that who would, but in general, 100%. I don't regret going to law school. I don't regret practicing law. I don't regret any of it. I think it was all really valuable, a great learning experience and a great life experience in general. But, we live longer these days. And if something is not working and I think that you have a passion for something else and are able to take that risk and make it, then 100% recommend it.
I love that. I'm going to leave a couple questions for you before I leave you. Right now, one of the things that we've seen as an epidemic in this country is obesity. It's been a big problem in the country, and with Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk with Zepbound and Wegovy, are you seeing that these singles are actually taking weight loss drugs and trying to better themselves? Are they trying to go out and the pharmacies and comb their hair and make themselves look better and more presentable? Are you seeing more of that, or are they just trying to, as you said earlier, be themselves?
Well, I think you can be yourself and be the best version of yourself. And obviously, obesity is not healthy. Let's forget about how it looks. It's not healthy. And so we have had clients who have lost weight in many ways through just pure whatever they're doing, their regimen and their diet. And then I've had a client who did use one of those, and she looks great and she feels great. So I think in general, you have to feel good about yourself, and that's going to come across in dating. And so whatever that takes for someone, I think I recommend it. Whether there's been an increase, I think we all know people who, more and more people who have lost the weight using those drugs, definitely.
And when people sign up to your website and you get that client for the first time and you sit down with them, what's usually the first question that you're going to ask them?
Well, we break the ice first. We ease you into it, and it's. I do not put on any prosecutorial hats in this case. So
I was getting ready to say, am I going to be in trouble or something?
No.
Background checks coming in here. Yeah, I love it.
No, it's nothing like that. I remember having a consultation with a man, and then he's like, "Oh gosh, this was great. I was just hoping it wasn't going to be as bad as the dentist." I'm like, "That is that's the standard." But no, it's a conversation, and really, the whole point. I kind of want to know. If we're looking for your partner, who are we looking for, right? And what are your non-negotiables? What are your must-haves? Those are the things that we don't have a magic wand. We don't create people, right? We find them as they are. But what we do want to find are the people who have your must-haves and who don't have your deal breakers. And then, of course, go a little bit deeper than that into their values and shared life visions. But I wish I could just say, here's a checklist. I want you to write down everything you want, and I'm going to produce it. But we have not.
Yeah, I feel like if I signed up with you, I'd have a Myers-Briggs test and then check background checks, and okay, Ann's gonna let you in. I love this. It's a personal side of that you take on, and I think a little bit of it has to do with your prosecutorial thing, that you have to get to know people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to pull it back up again. After hello, listen, go sign up if you need that. You need Ann. And I'm going to tell you, I think she probably does have a magic wand. I have a crystal ball here somewhere. She puts 87% chance you're going to find love out there. That's pretty good. And you just heard two amazing stories from Ann about how personally she was and able to make that match happen. So right now, if you go click on After Hello, go right there, and she's going to be out there to help you, and her partner that's in business that she's known for a long time, and to help that side of it. But listen, I want to say, Ann, thank you so much for being on the show today. You are a breath of fresh air. It's not just all finance around here. We are real people, and I love this. So I look forward to seeing you next time. And let's talk about some of the trends that you're seeing out there too, as well.
Trends, yeah. I think that people are growing and learning, and I think that's wonderful. It really does seem like, or maybe it's the kind of people who come to us, and I love that. Then they're the ones who are getting the information and doing the work, and maybe they've been to therapy, and so that's really wonderful, because those are the ones that can have the most success. But even the ones, as long as they're open, we can have success with them. If they're open to learning and growing, then we love that.
Man, that is a great point. I'm going to leave it at that. Ann Parnes, we'll see you next time, but thank you so much, co-founder of After Hello Matchmaking.
Thank you so much, Stephen.